Cheers, vinyl community. Happy Sunday. Hope everyone's having a great weekend. A lot of football on today. It's raining hard here in the Northeast or whatever we call ourselves. But I have a quick segment. As you know, I started a new series, what I did last night, what albums that I played last night. And I have some interesting records. One I didn't even, I've never played before. I just opened it last night, played it. And one I had, and I don't remember playing it. It was, to me, it's an obscure title, but when I looked it up, it's a prominent title because of some of the circumstances. And it ties in with my cup, which is from the Kentucky National Corvette Museum. So I'll tell you about that. That'll be what we talk about at the end, at the last record. But last night, I believe it was the 23rd of September. And these are the records I played. And as you know, what I'm doing now is I'm taking photos of my albums that I play, and I'm going to keep a document of that. And it's cool because I have this document of a record of me talking about them, and I have a document on photos. And I think that's a nice idea. I've never done it that way before. I used to write down what I did, and I used to tell my friends what I played, guys that are interested in this. So anyway, the first record I put on last night, late last night, was this one. This was a record store day record that I bought the last record store day. I waited in line. This was easily available, but I waited in line for other things. And I picked this up at a local Pennsylvania record store. Here's the shrink. I took the shrink out. Nothing on it, but I pull it off, and I could use that shrink just to keep it. I keep my shrink inside. And Muddy Waters' Woodstock album, he did this, I believe, in 75. Pretty good recording. I would have liked to hear Muddy's vocals more up front, in front of the band rather than within the band. But really unbelievable studio work here by the guys. And I did not know who was on this record. And here's a great shot of Muddy there in the car. He's got a cane. He's 75. I believe he died a few years after that. But it's a cool record because Levon Helms is playing drums and bass, and he's kicking butt on the drums, man. It's like a blues session, And also, Paul Butterfield is playing harmonica. It's produced by Henry Glover. Bob Margolonia, who's famous, is playing guitar, and Garth Hudson is playing organ, accordion, and sax. Muddy's on guitar and vocals, obviously. But Levon Helm did a great job. They actually used the chest label, replica of the orange-blue chest label. So that was the first record I put on because Muddy starts it off. And then I was on the internet, online, looking up stuff, and someone had posted that it was the birthday released in 1970 on this day was Santana's Abraxas. So that makes it like 54 years old. So I go, wow. I did a little short too. It's on my page. So I said, okay, I'll pull my some Abraxas and I'll play that, and that'll be part of my set. So here's an early pressing, and you can see they're cleaned on. But what's funny, and I didn't realize this, but I pulled this record out the same day, almost to the day, one day before, last year on September 22, 2022, and cleaned it. So that was really weird. And here's the record. And this comes with a poster. This record needs no introduction. I played the whole thing, and I'm just floored by how good this sounds. Early Columbia pressing. Here's the inner. You can see that inner is not even cracked. Then this album's 54 years old. And this came with a poster back in the day, all for $3.98, right? Which is the equivalent of about $25 today. So I realize that you say it's $20, you say it's $4 back then, but it's with inflation, it's not. It's $20. But here's the poster. Never been displayed, obviously, but this record's so cool. And I really, the first side has Singing Winds, Crying Beasts, Black Magic Woman, Gypsy Queen, which is a Zabar song that he blended in with the Green song from Fleetwood Mac, which is Black Magic Woman. Incident at Nazabar, Tito Puente is on Oyo Como Va. This was 1970, so this was so cool to have Afro-Cuban, Afro-African, blues, rock, psychedelia, all fused together by Carlos and the guys. And, Greg Rowley ended up, forming Journey, so pretty significant. And who else is on here? But you could always look this up. But what's cool about this is I think side 2 is actually better. I think there was a recording issue, but side 2 just sounds a little better to me, and I like the tunes on side 2. This was engineered by Dave Brown, and it was recorded at Wally Heider's recording studio in Frisco. And this was mastered by the Mastering Lab as well, I believe. Maybe I got that mixed up. No, if it was, I'm getting my albums mixed up, but something I played last night was the Mastering Lab. So, but this is Wally's record. So really cool, sounds fantastic, and it was a coincidence that I just pulled it out. So I guess every year around his birthday, I pull this record out. Here's one that I have of the same record I want to show that has a censored strip on it. And they have a Time magazine review. And I haven't seen too many of these, but this was how it was bought. And then I pulled out and played some tracks from Abraxas and Quad just to hear some differences. Here's the Quad. And I did the same thing. I cleaned it around the same time in September 22. And this is the U.S. Quad. Near mint. I have it labeled on the jacket here. And there's the gold. The Quad gold. The Quad Columbia labels were gold. So then we come to a cool part. I went downstairs, was just looked through some stuff because I was by Santana, pulled out some records to play. This was all random. And I said, let's hear some 10 years after. So I pulled out this record, which is phenomenal. Fidelity-wise, it's even better than the Columbia Santana. It's much better than the Record Store Day pressing of Woodstock. So this record really sounds good to the day. And I believe this is 73. This is 73, so pretty cool. Here's the London Durham Inner. And that's what the label looks like. So, sitting next to these records, the 10 years after records, was this record, On the Road to Freedom. And that's Alvin Lee and MYLON LEFEVRE. Okay, now I didn't know who he was. But I said, you know what? I don't remember playing this album. Let me give it a shot. So I played it. It's pretty cool. And when I started reading who's on it, it was recorded in, I guess, at Alvin Lee Studios. But on it is George Harrison, Ronnie Wood. Let me see here. Steve Winwood. And Harrison goes under the name of, let me see. Jim Capaldi. And Harry Georgeson is Harry Harris, George Harrison. because he's under contract from Apple, I guess. Ronnie Wood plays steel. Alvin Lee guitar. Steve Winwood. Myron is percussion, and he plays lead vocals. Now, what's interesting about MYLON, he's in the Gospel Hall of Fame, the United States Gospel Hall of Fame. And I'm not sure the date, but he wrote a song called Without Him, and he performed it live, right? He performed it, and Elvis was in the audience, Elvis Presley. And Elvis went up to him, and I guess they talked, and he said, I want to do that song, which was called Without Him. And, later on, Elvis put it on his record, How Great Thou Art, which was a Grammy-winning, I believe it's Elvis's Grammy-winning album, which was a gospel record. His royalties, subsequent royalties, were $90K to MYLON for that one tune. Because the record went on to sell probably at that time, 3 or 4 million copies and probably more. What's also coincidental, and I did not know this, but MYLON just passed away on September 8th, 2023. Now, I just picked this record out of the blue. I didn't read anything about his death. He was 78 years old. He was born in October of 44. So he was a little younger than Elvis at the time. And I just said, wow, that's weird. It's weird that I picked Santana yesterday, and I picked it the same time, pulled it last year around the same time to play it. And then this. And what was funny is he got his first royalty check from Without Him on the Elvis record, and it was $90,000. So just imagine, back in the day, $90,000 was quite significant. And with it, he went and bought a new Chevy Corvette. So I pulled the Corvette Cup. And I pulled the Corvette Cup before I knew about this, because I went on Wikipedia about an hour ago to see what's the deal with this guy? How did he get mixed up? How did Harrison come to know him? Didn't know anything about Elvis at the time. Didn't know he was a gospel singer at the time. The record's okay. Obviously the 10 Years After fans didn't like it. It was a big departure for Alvin Lee. I guess he wanted to do something a little quieter, but it's a good record. Now that I know more about MYLON, and now that I know the Elvis story, I'm going to give it another listen, a more critical listen, because I basically pulled it to, to play it because it was just there with the 10 Years After records. And that's how I do my sets. One thing leads to another. Had I not went down to pull Santana, I would have not been by the 10 Years After section, where I have Temptations, Tease, T-Rex, and where my albums are rock categorized that way. But that's it. This is the record, On the Road to Freedom. The guy just passed away a couple weeks ago, and I pulled the record. So Elvis knows what it's like. Elvis dug him. Elvis can't say hi to you guys because of copyright, but Elvis did dig him, and who knows what other royalty checks this guy probably, that was the initial royalty check. So you figured every year he was getting a nice little payday, which was cool. So that's it. What I played last night, what I did last night. Hope you like this. Thanks for all subscriptions. I really appreciate you supporting the record, and I hope you let me know if you like this segment and what you play last night. Cheers. And if you know anything about LEFEVRE, please let me know, because I'm going to delve into his catalog and I'll learn a little bit about him. So that was a cool thing about doing these little sets. This was a good session. Wasn't long. Santana's maybe 40 minutes. I did some cuts on quad. But fidelity-wise, the best one was the 10 Years After. And oddball coincidence was obviously this one. So keep rocking. Tony's up. Peas R Us are out. And thanks again for dropping in. Ciao.